All right, folks, we continue part two of our interview with Michael Savage and his great new book, Stop the Coming Civil War, The Savage Truth. Michael, when you talk about a civil war, I know you're not talking about us shooting at each other and the way the first civil war in this country went down, but you're talking about a separation in this country that seems to be irreparable.
Obama declared a civil war on American society the day he seized power. Didn't he say he was going to be a transformational president? Didn't he say he was going to transform America? Well, look back over 6 years. There's been a war on our military. Can anyone argue that he's not decimated the military? There's been a war on our borders. Who can argue that I'm wrong about that? There's been a war on our civil rights. There's been a war on our schools. There's been a war on our allies like Israel. That is why I wrote Stop the Coming Civil War. The first chapter is graduating to treason. And I go back to Abraham Lincoln. Why do I go back to Lincoln? Here's what worries me, Steve. Obama told us in the beginning that Lincoln was one of his mentors. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, under the rights that Lincoln granted himself in the 1862 proclamation, a stunning overreach of executive power, Abraham Lincoln violated American civil rights with impunity. You know what he did? He's arrested and imprisoned some 20,000 civilians and detained them without trials. 20,000 in the 1860s is what? 200,000 today? Many of them were journalists who opposed the Civil War. Many of them were journalists who opposed Lincoln. He arrested them. He suspended the writ of habeas corpus. That's one of Obama's role models. That's why I say you may think that I'm inventing this to sell a book. Well, answer this. How come there were 1.2 million hits on the article WND wrote the other day that was linked on Drudge, Savage Civil War, Civil War Savage. Savage says 30 days to save America. 1.4 million by now. People clicked on that. There are people who understand what's going on. I don't expect the welfare recipients to care. I don't expect the illegal immigrants to care. I don't expect those on the government dole to care. But I expect every taxpayer to understand what I'm saying here.
You know, Michael, you addressed something that I've been talking about also, and I always ask the question. You refer to purposeful incompetence. It's beyond comprehension. It's beyond reality to assume that Barack Obama is as incompetent as he appears to be on every single facet of his presidency. I concentrate mostly that when I talk about the Middle East and what he's done to it. To me, right, he has to be smarter than that. He has to have a purpose and a plan. And I believe he goes to bed every night smiling, saying, check, another check, we did it.
The point is he's much cleverer than anyone can imagine. That's how he became president. He didn't become president by being stupid. And the idiots who are saying that he's given up or he's a lame duck presidency are absolutely wrong. He is, in 6 years, managed to destroy the country's chief institutions. The fact of the matter is, with 2 more years, we're not going to survive. We will not exist as a nation with firm borders, with a single language, and with a cohesive culture. It's what I argue in Stop the Coming Civil War. And you say, of course it's not a shooting civil war. He has been conducting a civil war on America's institutions from the day he seized power. But it's not just him. Take a look at the people surrounding him. The 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. They're all 30, 40-year radicals on the left. That's what they're doing. They are achieving their revolutionary goals right in front of our eyes. Now you'd say, well, what can we do about it? How about this, Steve? Ebola is where the rubber meets the road. We can see his incompetence with Ebola. He could have stopped this. It's getting out of control. Bumper stickers are appearing calling, I named him President Ebola the other day because my fear is that will be his legacy. This is a nightmare, but it shows us how incompetent the man really is. Look at ISIS. They just took another city. What kind of impotent air war is this that he's conducting? It is utter nonsense. Everything he touches is a fraud.
I couldn't agree more. Michael, but the problem is when you say, and I keep reminding people that his second term is not yet half over. And people say, well, the Republicans will take the Senate. He's going to veto anything the Republicans put on his desk, and he'll keep issuing executive orders.
Well, my goal in the book, Stop the Coming Civil War, is to replace the Senate with the Republicans. Even though they're rhinos, they're more reachable because they're more frightened than the Democrats. And we can get them at town hall meetings and make them do our bidding. I'm going to repeat that another day, and that's the strategy here. We've got to take the Senate back. As far as Obama with his executive orders, they've got to impeach him the day they have the power. Day 2, impeach Obama. That will stop his agenda in its tracks. That's the entire strategy in this book. 300 pages referenced. If everyone listening to your show went out and shared it with one person who might be a Democrat or might be an independent, and came to understand the damage he has done and could do to this country, they would understand that we do have the power to save the country. The people have the power in 30 days to save America.
All right.
And stop the coming civil war, by the way.
And that is the name of the book, Stop the Coming Civil War, The Savage Truth by the one and only Michael Savage. I love the hat, sir. Good to see you. Good to talk to you again.
Tip of the hat to Steve Malzberg. Thanks, Steve.
Take care, Michael. All right, the one and only Michael Savage, ladies and gentlemen. It's not funny. None of it is funny. The tip of the hat was funny. But that's the only thing that's funny, because we are in trouble. The Malzberg panel's next. Don't go away.